The story that you are about to hear is a compilation of documented true facts, featuring characters, events, or places that has played a role in shaping history. Please sit back and listen as I recite this narrative for you. Bernardo Anzures, also known as Narding Anzures, was a Filipino film actor and convicted murderer. He was a former child actor and was the leading man of Lilian Velez in several films. Lilian Velez Climico was a Filipina actress and singer born in March 3, 1924. She popularized one of her father's songs sa kabukiran prior to the outbreak of World War II. She was married to Jose Climico in 1942. After the end of the war, her film career resumed and was paired with Narding Anzures, and both of them starred in films titled Binibiro Lamang Kita, Ang Estudyante, and Sa Kabukiran. After the success of Sa Kabukiran, LVN Pictures decided to cast Jaime de la Rosa as Velez's leading man in her next film. The decision caused distress on the part of Anzures, who had seemingly become obsessed with the married Velez. On the night of June 26, 1948, Anzures paid an unexpected visit to the Quezon City home of Velez. Upon his arrival, he stabbed Velez to death and a housemaid who had come to her mistress's assistance. The crime was committed within view of Velez's toddler daughter Vivian, who was unharmed during the incident. It was about 2 a.m. when someone discovered the scene of the crime and police were called in. They were met with Ninita, a frantic housemaid frantically saying, "Lilian Velez is dead." They found the living room chairs and tables overturned and shattered ornamental glasses littered the floor. At the center of the room was a blot of blood, making a trail that led them to a bedroom. Inside was the body of Lilian Velez. Her 1948 murder by a fellow actor scandalized post-war Philippines. She was only 24 years old. A second body was found in another bedroom. She was sprawled parallel to a windowsill. She was later identified as Pasita, another housemaid. Nanita told police officers that earlier that night, a man jumped over their fence and tried to force his way in from the back door, and having failed, he went to the front door and tried to get in. She was about to open the door when Anita was told by Lilian to ignore him. The man at the door identified himself as Narding Anzures and demanded that they let him in or else. Nanita ignored Anzures. When Anzures realized that his threats were being ignored, he pulled out an army hunting knife and slashed through the screen door, entering the house through the living room. When Lilian found out that Narding was inside, she confronted him at the living room, where Nanita told police Anzures tried to force himself on Lilian. Lilian started screaming, struggling against him. Lilian was able to get away from Narding, stumbling in the process. Before she could stand back up, Narding drew out his hunting knife and stabbed her in the back. Wounded, Lilian ran to the bedroom but died before reaching the bed. Narding heard shouts for help coming from another bedroom, and there, he found the other maid Pasita, whom he stabbed from behind. She was dead before she hit the floor. He then went around the house to see if there were other occupants. When he tried to open the bedroom where Lilian was, he found out that it was locked. Nanita and Lilian's 4-year-old daughter were inside. Unable to get into the room, Narding beat a hasty retreat. When Nanita was sure that Narding was out of the house, she started yelling for help. A neighbor called the Quezon City police, and their house was surrounded with onlookers. Cornelio de Guzman was driving down España when he recognized Narding, whom he thought at first was drunk. He didn't know that Narding had just committed murders. Narding ordered him to drive to Pasay City, where he thought he would be able to hide out, but whomever he went to were sleeping and didn't even hear him knock. So, he went back to de Guzman and asked him to help him knock on the door. He even asked him for his keys so he can back the car up to a more convenient position. While de Guzman was knocking on the door, Narding drove away heading south. In the meantime, the police set out an alarm for the fugitive. Jose Climaco, Lilian's husband, arrived home early that morning and found his house swarming with police and onlookers. Nenita met him at the doorway and told him that the señorita was dead. He saw his daughter Vivian in one corner looking at him and told him, "Daddy, Narding killed Mommy." Climaco was shocked by the news. He reached for his gun and tried to kill himself. Fortunately, the police were able to wrestle the weapon away from him. When he calmed down enough to be interviewed, he told police that he and Lilian were living an ideal married life. He was aware that Narding was in love with his wife, but that Lilian never encouraged the actor. A warrant of arrest was issued all over the country for Narding Anzures. Police were accompanied by Miguel Anzures, Narding's father, to look for him in the south. Narding's first stop was in Caluwang, Laguna, where a friend told him that he had no place to hide him. So Narding headed for Santa Cruz, where his friend Delphine was and was able to accompany him. With the radio blaring with the news of the murder, the people of Santa Cruz recognized the car that Narding was driving. They also recognized the actor, but no one made a move to arrest him. Delphine and Narding decided to go to the mayor's office and turn himself in. Before Fiscal Jose F. Hernandez of Quezon City, Narding confessed to the murders of Lilian, Velez, and maid Pasita. He said that he didn't have any grudge against the Climacos and that, in fact, they were very good friends. But he was under a fantastic spell that caused him to murder Lilian and the maid. He further stated that he didn't know what he was doing. On July 19, 1949, Anzures pleaded guilty to 2 murders and was sentenced to double life imprisonment and to compensate the heirs of his victim 5,000 pesos each. No real motive was ever identified. During his stay in Muntinlupa, Narding contracted tuberculosis and was pardoned by then-President Elpidio Quirino. About 2 months after his release, he passed away. Hey everyone! I just wanted to express how grateful I am that you took the time to listen to my narration. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I am Twysted Mind and please enjoy the rest of your day. Salamat!